This is a video to get to 99 from 98 videos on my way to getting to 100 before the end of the evening. So I've got 98 and thought it would be nice before the evening is over to get to 100. So here we go. This was on engagement, employee engagement it's called. The reason employees are not engaged is because managers are not engaged, and that's always true. So the programs and the research and the Gallup organization results on employee engagement are all misnamed, and deliberately so, by evil managers and CEOs that are lying. It's they're all programs in how do we get employees engaged without having executives engaged? And the answer is you can't. So if you've got a big bunch of overpaid, lazy MBA, moronic, numbers crunching, humans denying, lazy bastard managers, guess what? You don't have employee engagement, do you? So if you want employee engagement, stop hiring baboons, stop training them to kiss your butt, and start hiring human beings and start getting them competing with you and making life hell for you in terms of being better than you. Then you have no trouble with employee engagement at all, and you have trouble with nerve pills being taken by you because you can no longer pretend to be the big leader by stifling all the work going on that other people could be doing if you weren't being big monkey all the time. Okay. So the key to employee engagement is executive engagement. And whenever anyone says they're interested in or working on employee engagement, it means that they are lying to everybody and unwilling to admit that they don't have any leaders and no leadership going on. They have people called leaders who don't do any leading, and therefore nobody's going anywhere. Now you can measure this. You can measure what's called, if you have a brain. Now in business, nobody has a brain, so it's hopeless. But if you have a brain, you can measure what's called directedness in a large group of people, which is, do they have the layers of context to make their very, very separate roles and skills point in directions where you get emergent results much bigger than their individual contributions. That's sophisticated Santa Fe Institute talk. So if you're a CEO, I don't expect you to have the brain power to look up that many words fast enough to understand what I'm saying. And I really don't want. I'm old. I don't have enough years left to waste time talking to morons. So uh, uh, the issue is uh, really two kinds of engagement: creating directedness in your organization. That is, actually getting somebody led somewhere. Do you understand that? And it's a real simple idea. It's called not lying. And instead of making a general noise about leadership, which and innovation, and say all these words 100 times in 100 speeches to no effect, except making yourself look like a top monkey fool. If you actually want to achieve directedness in your organization, it makes an immense difference. It's sort of the difference between outputting 10 and outputting 1,000. So typically you can improve productivities by 1,000%. Now, most of the people in most of the jobs in most of the big corporations of the world can do their job completely in 2 hours a week of work. And the other 38 hours a week are monkey stuff. Staff meetings, kissing the butt of the top monkey, starting your speeches with little 2-minute diatribes about how you are less smart than your fearless big monkey leader is, as I observed the vice chairman of GE Asia doing in his speeches here in Asia to make sure, in case they were recorded or reported, that the top monkey knew that he was beloved by his number 2 monkey. Oh God, give me a break at the age of 60. It's so embarrassing. Born a monkey, always a monkey. You get 800,000 and then you get 2 million, then you get 10 million. Is the money really with the groveling? All those decades of groveling? Banana land. So when you hear the word employee engagement, you are dealing with a liar or a fool or both. The only thing that exists is called leadership, which means leaders who lead. I'm sorry, I know that's radical. And which means the employees actually have delivered to them directedness, layers of context which get their separate talents and roles and projects pointing in synergistic directions where you get vastly more output than individually they would add up to. That's the technical definition of directedness. Delivering that to 100,000 people requires full play of all media channels. And I'm going to read down how I get it done. And I've gotten it done for 2 or 3 CEOs. But they were really rare people. They were, I would certainly say, out of the Fortune 1000, they were half of the smartest 10. And I don't know that I'm ever in my lifetime. It took me 10 years to find each of them, so I really don't know that I'm ever going to find another one. I was in on 3 of them I found on the beaches of Anguilla, to be honest. Fractal leadership. This means you leading everyone around you, including leading the executives you report to. This means executives leading you and everyone around. And this means the entire workforce leading you and all the executives. That's called fractal leadership. Number 2, cultures of engagement. You have to set up several cultures and weave them. You have to have a culture of risk-taking, a culture of investing, which is very different than a culture of risk-taking, a culture of high performance, which is very different than the other 2, and a culture of boundaryless operation, which is very different than the other 2. Creating fair play spaces. These are games. They really are. They're just human-created games, and you have to enforce the rules yourself if you're the top monkey. You have to be the policeman. You cannot delegate policing. Do you understand that? Honesty you cannot delegate. Fools delegate honesty and they end up in prison. Connectedness increases engagement. Connectedness increases engagement. Now, in Western organizations, this is valid because, to an unbelievable extent, the managers in Western organizations hoard knowledge and information and ideas. And therefore, no directedness gets below direct report to VP. No directedness at all ever gets given to anybody except in the dictator sense of some moronic, psychologically damaged person enjoying being the boss and torturing all the people who are subordinate to him. Engagement dissipator reduction. There are enormous dissipators. Competition dissipates engagement and weakens it. Immature, uneducated people appointed as manager who haven't undone the initial factory settings that their mommy and their daddy and the nation they were born in and their gender gave to them. Males trapped in being male all the time everywhere. Americans trapped in being American all the time everywhere. Uneducated, barbaric people as managers are engagement dissipators. Ambitious MBAs. Psychopathic, greedy bastards who are only in it to optimize everything for themselves, while skillfully pretending verbally that they're interested in you. They are dissipators of engagement. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it does blow. Turn it off. Yeah, open the door. Diversity handles. Use of diversities there. There's a lot of diversity in a huge workforce and in all of its products and markets. It doesn't get used. Managers and MBA programs and the professors in MBA programs are unable to map and use diversity. They lack the emotional skill, the social skill, the gender skill necessary to engage them. Competitive mundanity, monastic innovation levels, changing the very, very most basic fundamental assumptions of life. What is a job? Inventing in your organization split jobs where everyone works in a totally different business, different parts of each week, with different bosses and different authority and different budget and different talents. Nobody has one job for 40 hours a week. Can you do that? Is that too radical for you? Are you a little wimp? Can't get your mind around that? The Dutch women are doing it with part-time jobs because they get pensions and health benefits that go along with part-time jobs. So Dutch women have invented this in our lifetime. And they work in real estate industry as a salesperson 2 days a week. And then they work as a finance executive in an insurance company 3 days a week. Or they work as a national park guide 2 days a week. And they work as a medical therapist 3 days a week. Is that so hard to do? Is that beyond your software's capabilities or your imagination to have 2 jobs for everybody instead of one boring job all week? talk about engagement. I mean, the reason you don't have engagement is you have brainless idiots who have to have the job, never looking at what a job is. Uh, Competitive mundainities, that's called, monastic levels of innovation. Culture blends. This is like the earlier point of having diversities and then using them, i.e. blending them smartly, and events that blend them smartly. Person dimensions of engagement. How much of a person is allowed at work? Japanese get huge amounts of a person involved at work, but the return is slavery and no progress for 30 years in your career, no initiative. So they know how to get huge amounts of person at work, but then torture the person with slave conditions and don't use their ideas. What we need is somebody who can get the same amount of person that the Japanese get and fully use their ideas. Now, that's where you blow past everyone in the world. But if you get the amount of person an American firm gets, it's like 3% of the person is allowed at work. That's called professional behavior. And anywhere we have an emphasis on professional behavior, you mean some moronic big monkey is allowing only 3% of the motivation, talent, and ideas of people to be there at work. You got to be professional. Global dimensions of engagement. Well, there's so much to this, I shouldn't have mentioned it. Japan has the world's best diligence. Germany has the world's best perfectedness of task and item. The South has the world's best joy of living. Italy, Mexico, Spain. Wall Street has the world's best psychopathic, fast concentration on sheer wealth and cocaine addiction. Silicon Valley has the world's best revolutionary technology invention. At times, you're going to need some of those, and different ones at different times, depending on what you're doing. And so, if you are stuck in any one of those, you're dead. You're not going to be able to transition to the others that you need. So you're going to have to learn to be German, Japanese, American, Silicon Valley, all that at one point or another. Wastelessness of 38 hours out of every 40 of every job in every big corporation is absolute monkey crap waste. Status games to make the top monkeys feel powerful. Which is why they're in business. They don't need the money. They just want to feel important because they know they're worthless. And all the women have convinced them they're worthless. And the women are right. The kind of guy who wants to be a CEO is probably not unpsychopath. You need that much money to feel normal. There's something wrong with your brain. Wastelessness, fractal strategy, job, mission, career, trans self, and trans lifespan. You have strategies for your job, and what to do with it and get out of it. Strategies for your mission, strategies for your career, where to aim it, how to aim it, and what path, shape it should have. Strategies for transcending yourself, and strategies for transcending the limits of your own lifespan. Right directedness and lots of it. Past-facing strategies are responding to crisis. Present-facing strategies are choosing the environments to work in. Future-facing strategies are inventing new environments to get available to be in. And making strategy and directedness real. And this is setting up interfaces, because that gets people led, not personal persons doing leading things out of Chialdini's book, the CEO arm around the shoulder and the word in the ear. CEOs are so good at that, and that has very little effect on people, and it's useless for leading. In big enterprises of more than 500 people, you need interfaces you can set up. That's how you deliver directedness to people.